Good, 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 good.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Love Coach Sessions Live. I'm your man, KTJ. And this is Love Coach Sessions Live. Tonight, we're talking about it from honeymoon to forever, how to keep love strong. All month long, we've been bringing experts together. I want to bring people together who got something to say. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of conversations out there, but I want to bring people together who have intelligent minds and something fun to say about this topic on dating, relationships, and love. And so I'm going out and I'm bringing my friends. This is my way of networking and bring my friends to the stage. So let me start off with Hazel J. Hazel J, what's going on? Dr. Hazel J is in the building. How you feeling tonight?
What's going on? I am wonderful. I am wonderful. How are you?
I am outstanding.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Hazel, tell our audience a little about who you are and who you serve, who you work for, who you work with out here in these streets.
All right. Laugh out loud. I would be first, right?
Yes.
My name is Dr. Hazel J. I have many hats. I am a grief transformer, a transformation lifestyle coach. I'm also a counselor. I do a lot of family counseling, couples counseling. I also am an art therapist as well and an educator. What I really enjoy doing is helping families and couples become one, become whole, and move forward in their journey, especially when they're rearing children.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have a great conversation here tonight. All right. So let me bring my next panelist up here. Paris Denise is in the building. How you doing, Paris?
Hello. I'm doing great. I hope you guys are too. Glad to be here.
All right. I finally got Paris on my stage. What you talking about?
Oh man, we about to talk about it. Talk about it.
Let's do it. Like Clubhouse days.
I know, right?
Yes.
So
all right, Paris. Yes, ma'am. Talk to our audience. Tell our audience who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
I am your favorite country city girl matchmaker. Just a little bit about me. I'm the VP of Connectricity Matchmaking. I'm also a community wellness liaison, so I really focus on helping people improve their sexual health. I'm a certified mental health aide and also a certified matchmaker. You may have seen me on Bravo's Love Match Atlanta season 1. Well, it was only one season and I was on it. Really what I focus on is helping compatible singles find love, improve their dating and relationship experiences. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yes. In Paris, that's where I saw you in person, where we met for the first time in person at the matchmaker show. That was really cool that we all had that experience. Yes. So I'm looking forward to the conversation and having you here on stage today. All right. My girl, Coach Tammy Nicole, is in the building.
Hello.
I bring the therapists. I bring all the matchmakers. I bring the people to the stage. That's what's up. Coach Tammy, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Yes. Talk to the folks. Tell us who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Man, who am I? That's a real good question, right? That's that heavy loaded question for most people.
Give us the short version.
No, I have been in the mental health space for over 20 years. I am an author, but what I am currently doing is providing self-love coaching to successful women who are successful on the outside and miserable on the inside because they don't know who they are. And so I'm actually, preparing them for this love journey that they need to be on, but they got to get themselves right first.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'm glad to have you on stage. I was on Tammy's show the other day on her podcast. So a little later on, we're going to make sure we plug the podcast. Yes. Y'all need to hear her content. She got great stuff. All right. And we got Andrea M. Stuckey is in the building. Hey, the coaches is in the building. How you doing, Andrea?
I'm doing wonderful, Calvin. Hey, everyone. Great to be here.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming. All right. Share with our audience who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yes. Well, I'm Andrea M. Stuckey. I am the divorce liberator and your favorite life and divorce coach. I'm also the author of several books, and I help separated and divorced women rebuild, redefine, and liberate their lives, following such a tragic time. So I've been in this space as a coach about 9 years and seen a lot of the ups and downs of relationships, if you will. Yes.
All right. Beautiful. And we got Mr. Kelly. He is on his way. He's a busy man like we are. We're all busy, but he let me know he would be along, so we'll bring him up when he comes. But let's get this conversation underway, you guys. And for those that have been following, yes, this is our fourth installment of Love Coach Sessions Live for the Love Month. All week, all month, we've been here doing these sessions, bringing on experts and having some intelligent conversation around dating, relationships, and love. There's a lot of conversation happening on the internet, but a lot of it is not intelligent. Okay, so look, I just want to do, look, I'm somewhere in between. I'm educated, but I lived around the corner from the hood, so I'm right there in the middle. So I want to bring the education as well as the common wisdom that we have and that we need, you guys. So let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna go around the horn for the moment, and then we can just kind of we go into it. Give us the short version. Dr. Hazel, talk to me about this idea of this is our fourth week, so we've come down to from honeymoon to forever. When you see that statement, talk to me about your thoughts. What comes to mind when you see that?
From the honeymoon to forever. To me, what comes to mind is you're still in honeymoon stage because forever, saying it like that means that you're thinking that it's still going to be the same type of way it was in the beginning, and not acknowledging that there's going to be a lot of challenges along the way. It's going to be a lot of ups, downs, what they say, you're always either going through it, you're in it, or coming out of it. And that's what happens in a relationship too. It's not going to always be that honeymoon where it's all you giddy and you just super excited, like, oh, I can't be without you. And nah, baby, it gets to the point where you're like, get away from me. I still love you, but I need you to go to the left or to the right, whichever one you prefer. And I need my space. I need my time, or I don't agree with this, because we evolve, right? And so as we're evolving, things change. So what seemed like I can handle forever in that moment will look a lot different as time moves on. When you have different experiences, your expectations may change, your feelings, you may have now resolved some unhealed experiences. All of these things impact what your forever may look like for you moving forward from the time you said this is forever. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. That makes sense. Paris and East, talk to me. Honeymoon to forever. What comes up to you about that?
Well, when you really put those two concepts together, we are really expecting this newness to last forever. And as we know, we're all temporal beings, and nothing lasts forever. Everything must change. Everything must evolve. Everything must grow. So I kind of think it's an unrealistic expectation for us to think that we're going to stay in this honeymoon stage. I think it's a beginning, but I also believe that it's better at the end than it is in the beginning. And it's better because you learn each other on the process of forever. You grow in that relationship. We get so elated with the idea of forever. We get so they lived happily ever after, especially in this Disney dating culture, like happy ever after. This honeymoon, the wedding is just going to continue. It doesn't. The bond changes. The relationship changes with time. So yes, as you're making that commitment for forever, we should want to grow out of that honeymoon stage. Not saying we don't keep some of those things that really had us fall in love with that person, but as you get to really know the nuances of someone, yes, we're going to be together forever, but we're going to transition from this stage and go into a deeper connection, not just this materialistic, celebrated elatedness. It's a lot of people that get married, that honeymoon stage is gone, and they wonder why it doesn't feel like it. It's not supposed to feel like that. That honeymoon stage is for you to enjoy that stage, and forever is a progression of you guys evolving together and maintaining that commitment that you both decided to take your vows towards.
Okay, good stuff. Coach Tammy, keeping love strong, honeymoon to forever. What comes up to you for that?
Honestly, it's the journey. The journey comes up. When I saw the title From Honeymoon to Forever, I immediately just simply thought about from start to progression to wherever forever actually finishes. A lot of times some of us have that, until death do us part mentality, and some of us, the death of the relationship, not necessarily the death of the person. So I look at it as a full journey, and the journey that the two people who embark upon that journey decide to take. You say the words honeymoon, and everybody thinks, the frillies, the enjoyment of fairy tale life, and then forever. I feel like it's whatever you make it. It does have its ups, it does have its downs, but those ups and downs are dependent upon the people involved. And so sometimes you can have more ups than downs. It depends on you, but it's definitely a journey.
Okay, good stuff. Before I call on the next person, I need everybody that's watching this show to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, wherever you're watching this show. We need more people in this room, and we need more people to have this conversation. And you guys can drop your comments in the comment section wherever you're watching, and it'll come up. So we definitely want to have you guys involved. This is a community show, and we want everybody involved in it. All right, Andrea, talk to me about this. Honeymoon to forever.
Hey, honeymoon to forever. What I think about, of course, as a divorce coach, is when we realize that it's not going to be forever, and what that situation or stage in the marriage or relationship looks like, and whether you call it quits for whatever reason, or how you work through that particular lump or bump in the marriage or relationship.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get into this, Andrea, because we got the divorce coach on here. We got folks on here who've been on all sides of this thing. So we're gonna talk that talk tonight and tell the truth. Mr. Kelly Cole is in the building. What's happening, good brother?
What's up, bro?
All is well. All is well.
Glad to be here.
Yes. Talk to the people about who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
And what you significantly bring to a conversation like this in the love world.
Yeah. So what I do and who I am, I go by the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole. I own a book publishing company called Publishing Advantage Group. I created a new division called Books for Athletes, hence my clients behind me. So I help athletes tell their story. Now, what value I bring to this conversation is I just reconciled with my wife. So we were teenage parents. We got married in our 20s, divorced in our 30s, and remarried each other in our 40s. So that's what I bring to this conversation. We reconciled, and we're in that honeymoon phase. And what I think about the title is I'm choosing every day to make it a honeymoon. So we 1 year in this new time, and finally one is our slogan. So we finally become one. And so we're happy, and we're choosing every day to make it a honeymoon. So it's forever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, we couldn't have a more perfect panel out here. So look, so I'm gonna get, look, we all want happy ever after, right? We all want that. But I want y'all to push on all sides of this, okay? Because there's some people who rushed in and got together, and maybe they shouldn't have got together in the first place. Maybe they needed to get divorced, and Andrea, they needed to come to Andrea for some help for afterwards. And so, you know, and then you got Mr. Kelly that they broke up and eventually came back together. So maybe that might give somebody some hope out here that all is not lost, and maybe the timing was just not right. All right.
No, I wasn't right.
Okay. Well, talk that talk.
I'm gonna keep it funky. I wasn't right. I wasn't healed. I was broken. I was a little boy who needed his mother. And I had to go out there and look for what God had already given me, get my butt kicked, and realize I should have sat my butt down at home. So that's what happened. Keep
Go ahead, whoever. Who's ready for that?
I think that's powerful. I mean, to own that is beautiful, and to recognize the stages that you and your wife went through, and starting young and developing as young adults and having your challenges, but recognizing that you had all that you needed in that person, and to have to put your pride aside, right? And to go back and to reform, if you will, that union, and then to have such a healthy and positive outlook. I think it's beautiful, and it speaks volumes for you and your wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we were babies. We were babies when we got married. We were babies having babies and babies married. Both broken, both young. Really no real support, and didn't know anything. So here I was, and here's the crazy. I don't know how deep we're gonna go fast, but here we were. We had our son. She was 17. I was 19. We dated for a year, broke up. I started dating another young lady. I started wanting to raise my son. So I said, I'm going to get married. I left this relationship with this young lady, decided to get married. The week I'm getting married, I get a call from the other young lady saying that she's pregnant. I'm still in love with the other young lady and deciding to get married.
Wow. You had what they call ghetto twins.
Bruh. Well, my son at the time, my son was already one. My son was already one. But yeah, it was just a mess, bro. I was just young, bro. I was broken, and like I said, had a sex addiction. I was molested by my auntie. So I had all of these things going on, being ripped away from my mother. So I had a mother issue, mother wound. So it was just a lot going on. So I had to go through in order to heal, in order to get to this side. And the whole time she was there.
Yeah, man, powerful. We're gonna get into all of that. Because I definitely want to get into this this side of the healing, right? But I want to kind of start with this honeymoon phase. What is it that makes a honeymoon phase so exciting?
I say the newness.
Newness.
The newness, them butterflies. And that's why I say you can choose that. You know, I choose every day. And I didn't know this was really going to be the topic. I just said yes. But today, when I was doing a devotion, I had a thought. The enemy is diligent in destroying. So we have to be diligent in building.
Yeah.
So we have to be just as diligent every single day to build up the relationship, to build up the marriage. Because guess what? The enemy ain't taking no breaks.
Yeah.
Any chance he can get you to get off that honeymoon phase, guess what? He's trying to knock you off of it. So you have to be choosing and be diligent in staying in that place, I feel.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because we have to be intentional in our relationships. And I think that sometimes, you know, after that little honeymoon stage that we're talking about, everyone sort of just gets comfortable, doesn't appreciate, you know, just gets into that routine. And the reality is, really with anything in life, we have to be intentional and just pursuing it to our fullest, to our best. And unfortunately, sometimes in relationships, you know, we've all may have been guilty in that in some way or other. We kind of just, you know, take our eyes off of the bigger goal.
For sure. Yeah.
And to answer your question as well about like how, you know, how the honeymoon phase feels. I was first married when I was very young. I was 22 years old. I started dating my kid's father when I was 19, right? So I didn't even know adulting, single at all. And I just remember how it felt in my early 20s. It felt like being an adult. It felt like independence. It felt like a new life. It felt like life was just beginning. And I had always envisioned my life like, I'm going to have the house, the dog, the husband, the kids. And after my college degree, that's me setting up my life, because that's what I thought my purpose was. I didn't know my purpose was beyond, you know, family and wifedom. And I thought that when I was trending towards that, I was getting closer to independence and adulting, because that's what adults do. And that's what family structures look like. So just a newness and an independence, getting away from somebody has to tell me what to do. Now I get to have my own household and actually control my own life. That's what it felt like. That was very naive. That's how a lot of people feel in their young 20s. As we get older and we evolve in our 30s, marriage feels like for a woman, security, validation in that early phase. And we can talk about that. We as women can unpack what it feels like to be validated to be somebody's wife. And it changes when our 20s versus in our 30s. And that definitely happens in this time period where a lot of Black women aren't getting married, when only, you know, 26% of Black women actually end up getting married. So feeling like, oh, I finally achieved this. And a lot of times it's looked at as an achievement, as opposed to this is a unique partnership that I'm linking myself with someone to build an established legacy, to have a lifetime partnership, and all of the other things that come along with it. But we're going to unpack that later. I get my TED Talk.
I want to add. I want to add to that. Can I add to that?
Of course.
I think it's extremely important to acknowledge why you even considered the person or want to be married to this person, because a lot of times, to Paris' point, we I'm going to say we, as in I, as in us, we believe something is supposed to be based on what we've been taught, what we've seen, and we want to emulate it, especially if it's different than where we come from or what we've personally experienced in our family. And a lot of times also with that, we end up really, and I can be wrong, but I'm going to go on a leap and say we end up with the very person who exhibits the behaviors consistent in our life that has brought some form of hurt, pain, trauma, because that's what we we're used to.
Yeah.
We're used to it. And so as we begin our journey of life, as we begin to heal, like Mr. Kelly said, heal and unpack, right? That's when we're able to now take a step back and really see. And so to Paris' point, 20s, it looks one way. 30s, it looks another way. In the 40s, it can look a whole different way, right? And even in the 50s, because now what you believe was your beginning reason has now changed to be another reason, right? And if both people, going back to that honeymoon piece, if both people are not willing to accept each other in their transformation, in their healing, in their changing, then someone's going to get left, and then someone's going to get hurt and feel rejected and feel unappreciated. And then what happens? Then what does it say about you leave room that the enemy, to Kelly's point, will come in, right? Will come in and have you thinking all type of crazy things because you didn't have the courage to sit down and have a conversation with the person that you said that you wanted to spend your forever with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're forever changing. We're forever changing. We're forever growing. And so to Kelly's point, as far as being intentional, that intentionality also comes with being visible, right? So you have to be open and visible to the person that you're with. That honeymoon stage can be fun and loving. We talk about going from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. All of that changes only if you're changing, right? You can be the same person in your 30s and 40s because you decided not to grow, because you chose not to embrace the change beyond age. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause, chronological age does not equate to growth.
Agreed.
From a mature level or, emotional, any of that. So knowing who you are, to me, is the foundation of it all, because who you share with, the person who you're in connection with, it's got to be authentic. It cannot be the facade that you want to present. And to Dr. Hazel's point, as far as like you are connecting or gravitating to what you know and what you've experienced, even though you're trying to run from it if you didn't like it. It's like, oh man, when women have daddy issues, and it's like, I don't want nobody like my daddy. And then you end up with him. Because you were just looking for the behavior and not the character. And it's like, it's a lot behind all of it, but life is what we make it.
Yeah. True indeed. One of the reasons I believe that we have this disconnect, specifically when it comes to Paris mentioned our ladies, our women, and at the rate of which we're getting married. We're having, like, I remember back in the day, there were weddings all the time. Right? People were getting married all the time. It was like, oh, it's Saturday, somebody getting married. Like, it was every weekend somebody was getting married, And but I have noticed, like, over the course of the years, there's less and less weddings. There's less and less celebrations. And then comes Instagram, and now everything is comparable to these people who are celebrities. And Portia Williams and her husband, they had like a big giant blowout and ended up not together in a very short amount of time, and but to look at that, I think it had like a 3-day celebration, and she changed dresses, and they had to spend millions on this adventure. And there's people who will look at that and like, well, I guess, I can't, I can't have that. So this is not it, and I think that's an error. I think that's an error in judgment. What do y'all think?
For sure. Dr. Hazel was raising her hand.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel like I'm still in school. Like, I'm here, like, hey. So I think that that's definitely important. I want to go back really quickly to why, like, courting is very important. Like, there's a difference between dating and courting and and being engaged, and there's levels to this stuff, right?
Levels to this.
But first you have to learn how to date yourself.
Yep.
Like how to court yourself, how to be engaged to yourself, how to marry yourself. What does that look like? I remember I was telling one of my good friends, who he just knows me.
No, you good.
Okay, I'm good. Okay,
yeah,
so he knows me, he gets me, and I was like, yeah, I'm in a relationship. And then he was like, wait a minute, you're in a relationship. Now, somebody would think he was hating on me, right? Like, what you mean? I'm like, you didn't choose me, yo. So what you mean? But he was like, what he was saying was, how are you going to be in a relationship? Because I know how you love. And what's going to happen is that you're going to end up loving this guy more than you love yourself, more than you love what you were trying to accomplish. And I didn't understand it in that moment. Now it makes sense. A lot of times, if you're not, I wasn't whole, I wasn't complete. I had a lot of things going on still, right? So when I got with the guy that I was with, he got me when I just had a stroke. At one point I couldn't walk or talk or anything, right? And so the moment he hear me stuttering, I'm like, oh, yo, I can't talk to you. Like, this is not going to work. And he just embraced me and took me in. Well, for a person who had issues with attachment, abandonment, and those things, right? For me, it made sense. It was a no-brainer. Oh, he loves me. He's going to be there. And it doesn't turn out that way. Right. So what through my experiences, and I've been married twice, not for the right reasons either, because of what I believed it was supposed to be. You're supposed to, a kid deserves to have a mom and a dad. You have to be married you have to live together. You have to be married. I was sharing today. I did a talk with some elders, and I was like, they were one of the couples was saying they've been married for 48 years, and I said some people don't make it 48 hours. I didn't even make it 24 hours. The dude cheated on me the same day we got married. So wow.
Shut up. Wow. Shut up.
Wow.
Kid you not? And I still stayed. And then when he cheated on me and had a baby outside of our marriage, my goofy self, because I was broken and busted and all these things, wounded, right? I said, her and the baby come live with me.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
And this is being transparent. That's why it's super important to learn you, to work through your stuff. Yeah. Because if you don't, you will find yourself in spaces, places, and with people that can really disrupt. When I introduced myself, I said it's about the kids at the end of the day, the families, right? You will mess up your children behind your selfishness, your ego, your pride, your brokenness, right? You will you'll mess kids up that way if they don't know how to go through the process. So with that being said, I think that it's super important that you don't get lost in the facade of what is being presented to you. If it looks too good to be true and you're like, this is my honeymoon, you better be trying to find ways to make it not feel so good, so you can understand who you're dealing with, right?
Don't worry about that. Life will do it for you. Don't even worry about it.
Right.
And with that point, though, we can still put blinders up, right? There's a whole bunch of red signs we get, and we'll still choose not to see them, hear them, or feel them, right? What Mr. Kelly said was he chooses every day to have a honeymoon. So that means that his wife is in agreement to this being a honeymoon every day, right? This wasn't something he thought about in his head and she didn't understand it. They had to be on the same page for this to happen. He like, this gonna be a honeymoon every day. And she like, man, come on now. It ain't gonna work.
All right.
You gotta be on the same page.
All right, look. I want to hear what you guys say, brother man. And but let me play this clip. If you can jot down your, I don't want you to forget your point.
I got you.
All right, take note. But I saw this video, and I thought it would be really interesting to have this conversation. Everybody know this is Halle Berry. She was known as the most beautiful woman in the world, but also a woman who could not hold on to her man, is what they used to say. So this is her on the Drew Barrymore show. I hope we don't get dinged on this. All right. So let's hear what she got to say and let's talk about it. All right, hold on.
I can't keep a man.
Here we go.
I've heard people say, something must be wrong with Halle Berry. She can't keep a man. Who's to say I want to keep a man? I don't want to keep the wrong man. Like, I'm not crazy.
No.
Right? No. So when you find that you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. We have a right to say, oh God, this was a mistake. Let me start again. We have a right to do that. I've heard people say, something must be wrong with Halle Berry. She can't keep a man. Who's to say I want to keep a man?
All right, look in the comment section. I got hit my boy Dwayne Humphrey. He said, "But why aren't men allowed to make mistakes?" Interesting. Yeah, but it's looked at differently. It's a little different, but 100%. Look, so let me get y'all opinions on this. One of the things that I heard Halle Berry say one time when they were asking how come her marriage didn't work, she said the problem was one person has to be the picture and the other person has to be the frame. She said if you got two pictures, there's nothing significant to it's you competing for the space, right? If there's two frames, there's nothing to look at. So if one person is the picture, they make the picture better by being the frame. Tell me your thoughts.
I just hear ego. That's what I hear. If two people are competing to be the like, you should be one. That's how I feel. Like, we're one person. And what I was going to piggyback off what Dr. Hazel said, because we're choosing to have a honeymoon every day, that don't mean that it's perfect every day. If there's an issue, we're choosing to resolve it and then get back to being in honeymoon phase. So I wanted to clear that up. That don't mean it's perfect every day. That means that we're choosing and we're fighting to stay in versus fighting to get out, right? So our first marriage, I was a coward. I did everything to get her to leave me because I was a coward. I didn't want to leave because of what we just said. It's different if a man leaves. We look. Why did you abandon your wife? Why did you abandon your family? Why did you do all of this? So I didn't want to face that. I was 20. So I did everything I could to get her to leave. Guess what? She wasn't going nowhere.
She was holding true to them vows. She said, "Baby, for better or worse."
Listen, and she held true to him through it all. But when we divorced, we were married 18 years. We were divorced for 6. That last year of our divorce and me trying to get my life back together and trying to get her back, guess what? She didn't want nothing to do with me. I had to completely heal. Like she said, I had to marry myself. I had to get right with God. And it wasn't until I got right with him and stopped chasing her that we began to become friends first. So my first step was like, hey, will you just be my friend? I'm not asking you for nothing. Just be my friend. And so she began to walk with me as a friend first. And then I said, hey, will you pray with me? We started praying together. Then I said, hey, will you do this devotion with me? So we just began to do this thing. But it was a while before I asked her to go on a date. She didn't care nothing about those 18 years. Those 18 years was hell. We had to get to know each other. And so, yeah, but I was a coward in the first marriage. I didn't want to face that. Like you say, I didn't want to face you abandoning your family. And I still got that. When we got a divorce, I was still taking care of her, got her a place to live, bought her a house, paying my alimony, paying my child support, but I still got labeled as I abandoned her. And here's the part. We never separated our bank accounts. In the 6 years we were divorced, our bank account stayed the same. She had access to my business account, everything. But I still got labeled as I abandoned my family.
Yeah, and it's different.
And that's amazing that y'all were able to come back through so much adversity. But I did want to just comment on something that you initially said, just about Halle Berry's comment.
Yes.
When you said that, that was basically ego, I think you said. And when you said it initially, I agreed initially, but then I kind of thought about it a little bit more from Halle Berry's perspective, right? A lot of times we don't, especially a very beautiful woman with a lot of status and a lot of money and an accomplishment. And you look back at all of her relationships with the men that she's been with, right? She at some point was finding her equals over and over again. And a lot of times we want our equal, right? So you look at these men that she's with, models and producers, all of these like really rich and famous men. And
All
there
pictures.
was, but there's a competition, right? There's a competition for spotlight. There's a competition that goes in where you're challenging a man's ego because this woman that he's with has her own lane, her own passion, and a lot of motion and a lot of accolades, right? And from her perspective, talking about the picture frame, we both can't be the focal point. Somebody's got to be stability. Which one is it going to be? And in a lot of cases, it could be the woman. You hear a lot of that Coretta Scott King, like MLK was the picture and the Coretta was the frame. So it's not gender specific, but what happens is it is a unity. It is one. We are supposed to be one. But when you have competing forces inside of a marriage where one person is trying to control the attention and the spotlight, then it causes conflict, right? As opposed to operating in a support role. Some people who elevate really high need a support role. And I think that that's what Halle Berry was missing. She was too much finding her equal when she should have found what was suitable for her. And a lot of times when women get a lot of money and a lot of status, they are looking for their equal. I want a man to have as much fame as me. I want a man to drive a certain car, give me a certain type of lifestyle, equally as attractive as me, looking for an equal, but not looking for what's actually suitable for my life. And she made that decision over and over again. If you follow the type of men that she dated, highly attractive, very athletic, famous, motion going on. Some of them didn't have the same money, but they had their own, right? So I think a lot of times we don't really understand what it's like dating with pretty privilege, especially with the type of dating that Halle Berry has. And she doesn't get enough grace. She's not like some women have been married 6-7 times. You look at the breakdowns of the relationship she had with her, I think it was first or second husband, sex addiction. You look at some breakdowns where she's had in other relationships, and it's like, hey man, this woman really went a lot. And we don't know what these men did to get her. I'm pretty sure what they did to get her is not what they did to keep her. If that was the case, then she probably wouldn't have went through those relationships, right? And there's not a lot of women who have the same level of beauty and charisma that out of every decade of your life, you're going to be able to attract those quality of men. So like I said, she doesn't get a lot of grace, and we compare ourselves. Like, I wouldn't be married 5 times. You don't have the access that Halle Berry has. Your DMs will never look like Halle Berry's DM. When she's 60 years old, she's going to still have 600 people trying to get with her. So I just say we don't give this sister enough grace. I'm just sorry, we don't.
What I was thinking about when you said that, why can't it be a digital frame? Why can't it be when it's her time to shine, he supports her, and when it's his time, she supports him?
I agree.
Why does one person has to be the focal point? I think it should rotate. When it's your time, that's why I say it's an ego thing. Because if it's my wife time to shine, guess what? I'm gonna play the background. I'm carrying your purse. I'm carrying your iPad. I'm carrying your water. I'm gonna serve, and it's gonna reverse too when it's my time.
Look, but the problem with that is some people are coming from an unhealed place.
That is
okay, and when you're coming from an unhealed place, you can't. That doesn't make any sense. You know, it's like, well, wait a minute. You're out there directing the orchestra, and nobody's paying any attention to me.
Yeah,
I'm the reason that you get to do the orchestra thing, but nobody is noticing me. And so what do I do now? I need you to stop doing your orchestra thing and come home and pay attention to me. I need your attention, not the orchestra. And it's like,
listen, when you're saying
listen, and the person that's directing the orchestra realized, they said, look, I was made to create this beautiful music so that all of those people who are here to receive this gift can get the gift.
Yeah.
But it's definitely got to be handled correctly, though. Yeah. Go ahead, Hazel. You were going to say.
When you were saying that, it just reminded me of a whole temper tantrum. It's a temper tantrum. It is. You're throwing a temper tantrum. That is really, and even while I understand what Paris is saying, I do think that it is a ego and a pride thing and an unhealed thing. You can have all of that status, right? And you can lose yourself in the midst of your status, in the midst of your achievements, in the midst of, right? And so you're still that little girl or that little boy, that teenage boy or that teenage girl, to the world, this a wonderful, amazing, well put together being, but your little girl, little boy, teenage girl issues are coming up in the midst of it. And again, it's going back to the healing piece.
Yeah.
As you begin to get revelation to your healing and understanding and acceptance and so forth, then you begin to do just what Holly Berry said. Who's going to stay in something? I'm no longer blind. I'll be a fool to stay in this. And this person's not willing to grow with me. What am I do that for? It sounded like to me, and I can be wrong. I don't know the lady. But I will make the assumption that she because she really believes in love and marriage and in that way, that she tried all that she could to sustain it, and she had enough sense to realize it wasn't sustainable. And so she exited, but she wanted it so, she wants it so much so that she's willing to be vulnerable with herself and take the risk in hopes that she can get what she desires, or that, for that matter, any of us. We can easily find ourselves entrapped in what's in front of us, avoiding what's within us to present an image that's not even true at all.
That's a fact. So let's jump into this. Tammy, I want you to go up next on this. I want to talk about this because we want to help somebody get to that love strong part, right? Talk to us about communication. Like where does communication fall in getting to this forever in a positive way? How does communication show up?
Well, it should really be the foundation, right? You should be able to communicate with your partner about any and everything. Now, I know people always say there's some stuff you just can't tell everybody. But if you're with the person you're supposed to be forever with, you should be able to have every level of conversation. I think understanding how a person communicates is super important. So when you yourself, you have to know how you communicate, how you give information and how you receive it. And then you have to teach other people that you're in relationship with how to do the same. And I think if you're not communicating your thoughts, how you feel, you're doing yourself and that relationship a disservice. Your relationships are reflections of yourselves, right? Whoever you're in a relationship with, it don't matter if it's a friend or an actual romantic encounter. Who you are is always reflected back to you when you're in that relationship. So even when you're talking about Halle Berry and going from one relationship to the other, something about her she didn't like. It's not just about that person. She moved on to different people because she kept encountering herself and not addressing herself. And so when you do that, that's what you do. You do bounce and bounce and bounce because you're not healing. You're not healing the wound. And so when you talk about communication, you got to be able to communicate how you feel. When you get into a relationship, if you are a avoidant attacher, you are an anxious attacher, you need to communicate that. You need to say, hey, I got some daddy issues, let people know where you are so that you can start to maneuver and heal through the process. People that you are with are a part of the healing journey if you want to heal. It's not just going to the therapist and completely fixing yourself with them and then jumping in with somebody else. You have triggers you don't even know exist. Okay. So you think sitting in front of a therapist, and I am a therapist, so I know I'm not going to uncover every trigger you got because we're not going to hit them all.
Yeah.
But when you're in relationship with someone on the regular basis, they're going to hit them. And when they hit them, what do you do with them? So communication is super important.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And
that's powerful.
And I
Go
like
ahead.
to back on that too when we talk about communication, because your partner has to be a safe space for you to communicate. And I think sometimes when individuals are not healed, or are whole, or get defensive, or have immature behaviors, then it's not a safe space for their partner, male or female, to be open and honest and share. Right. So those are things that as individuals we have to work on prior to, and of course in the relationship. So not just being open and honest, but are we effective communicators? Are we good listeners? Are we a safe place without judgment for our mates to open up? And that definitely increases the level of intimacy when you have that in a relationship. And I think that sometimes when we talk about communication, we just talk about maybe how we, disagree or not disagree, but there also just has to be that safe space to really open up your heart and your mind and to be honest, where both partners can thrive. And I learned that. I didn't get it right, but I learned that along the way, through my study and in my subsequent relationships following my divorces.
I 100% agree with you. And that safe space is super important, and not putting it when someone tells you something that is of value, of like intimate and sacred, that you don't use it against them 5 minutes later when they make you mad. Like you're no longer safe in that moment. When you use their message or secret as a weapon, your safe space has been violated, voided, exit stage left, because you no longer are going to open back up for real. And you have to remember that if you want to, and I say this from a woman's perspective, we as women always look for safety in a man, but he needs safety too. And men don't open up and expose their inner pieces and struggles with us, because we weaponize it when they get on our nerves and they do something we don't like, or they do something we don't want. And you can't do that. If you want him to be available to be your safe space, you also have to be his. And using his visibility of being open and sharing his inner struggles with you is not the way to do it.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So let's talk about emotional intimacy. You just talked a little bit about that. You just tapped on that a little bit, and I think that's a place, like, we all understand what intimacy is, but emotional intimacy, meaning like I can give you my heart. I can trust you with my heart. I can trust you with my emotions. And somebody said it a little earlier, that I think it was Paris. He said that you should be able to talk to your mate about anything, right?
I think that was Tammy.
Yeah, it's okay.
Who that was Tammy? Okay, yeah, Tammy.
I agree. I
Tammy
co-sign that. Yeah.
Look, and I can tell you, as somebody who's worked with men for many years, as a men's coach, men's counselor, I can tell you that most men realize that you cannot talk to your woman about anything.
Wow.
Anything? No, because there are consequences.
Like I said, they weaponize it real fast.
Yes, there's consequences, right?
She did say a safe space, though. She did say a safe space.
You can't weaponize it.
Yes, and I'm telling you, we as men, and we understand. You cannot tell her everything. You tell her what you feel is necessary for her to know, that is not going to cause a conflict. Because if you know everything, now your anxiety is up. What about this? How come that? What are you doing? What are you doing over there? How about this? Oh, you did this? Oh, that, another. And it's like, for men, one of our main jobs is to keep the peace. Our main jobs is to manage this ship and keep this ship afloat, and introducing this the idea of telling her everything that's a bomb that you better not step on.
I got to say I disagree.
You can. It don't change nothing, but you can.
How do you keep stuff and say you got to be an effective communicator? It doesn't that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
In order to communicate, you have to trust, you have to share. That also includes body language, right? I had a couple tell me that her husband went out and he decided he was going to do this wonderful dinner for her and all this stuff, but a situation came up with her bonus daughter, his daughter, and she wanted to address it. She totally shut down the whole situation, right? And she's like, well, I just let it go. But as she's talking, and I'm like, honey, you didn't let anything go. Your body language said it all. It was enough right there. And so as we're talking through it, he even said, what I've learned to shut my mouth, not to say anything. But guess what? He kept all of that within himself. And so guess what happened? He started finding examples, finding evidence to support why he shouldn't say anything, and that allowed their a whole situation to come about when it was just a complete misunderstanding. So if you keep stuff, while it is true, if you don't share it with the right person, you don't create that space, right? Those things will happen, but I don't think that's the message that should be conveyed to husbands or into relationships in general. Have those conversations in the beginning. What does it look like, sound like, and feel like to be able to communicate? What is off boundaries? What don't you, where can we go to at least still say something, still communicate it, because you gotta release it. It's like a pot. If the water is, you got the lid on the pot and it's on the stove and it's boiling. Eventually what? The pot gonna get super hot and the lid gonna go somewhere. It gotta come out. So do you want to turn the fire down by effectively communicating? Or do you, or you figure out a safe word, or you say, okay, you know what, this right now, this ain't it for me. We can't talk right now, but we will have a conversation, or we will put it in a parking lot, like you in a business, like a parking lot, and we can come back and circle back. But trying to keep it inside, your mate should be your best friend. I think Mr. Kelly said it, your friend really should be. And in terms of the trusting,
I disagree.
Everything is still reflective. Everything is still reflective to what Mr. Kelly said. If I can't trust you, that means I don't trust myself. If I can't communicate with you, that means I don't communicate my true feeling. So again, it's still a mirror thing. If I'm having an issue with trusting you, what am I not trusting myself about? Why is that an issue? If I have an issue with not creating a safe space, why don't I feel safe and secure within myself? Because a safe, secure person is not going to throw stuff back at you and hurt you and harm you. And then the question is it really that person, or did I give that person subconsciously permission to mistreat me in this way? Because again, what did they used to tell? At least I heard this growing up. You pointed one finger, you got how many pointing back at you? It still come back to you, darling. It's still back to you. So set the expectation, set what you want, and move accordingly. But just shutting down because women don't know how to handle it, or they're gonna do this and do that. That's not fair to the person who may not even show up that way.
All right. Okay. Paris, go.
Okay, so I'm big on ending this gender war and ending this stigma that we have. Just really thinking that women are a certain type of way, right? First, what I want to do, Kelvin, is not invalidate what you just said. And I think a lot of time we get offended as women and we will invalidate your feelings. I heard you say a lot, but really what I heard was I have to keep this in because of the anxiety that it is going to cause my partner, because I have to manage the peace. That's what I heard. And what that means is me as a woman, me as a partner, I need to take accountability that my responses don't create a certain space for you to be able to tell me anything.
Right.
So that's one thing I did not know in my first marriage. As a 20-year-old, I did not understand that the way that I dug into him when he messed up, made unilateral decisions, made him not want to tell me anything, right? By me raising my two sons, I realized that it is very important for me to control my emotional state and operate in a logical state, because men are more logical and transactional and they are less emotional. So I have learned to control my emotions, leave my emotions to my feminine side, and express that and vent in places of discontent with women who understand what I'm going through. Not saying I can't tell my partner, my husband, like, okay, I'm having, a hard time accepting this, but allow me to go through a human experience, right? I may be upset, I may be sad, but I'm not going to be upset or sad with you. I'm going to be upset and sad with the situation, and we're going to come up with a solution to deal with this. So, but a lot of women, you should be able to tell me anything. Should is a very, very, very
should.
It's a very funny word. And it can only happen that way if you create that environment. But men, you have to give women the opportunity so you could be vulnerable with them, so that you can express yourself and communicate, and just stop giving up just because you face adversity. Sometimes holding things in cause problems that it shouldn't cause. For example, man loses his job. He's trying to hide it from his wife, his girlfriend, fiance. She finds out bills are not getting paid. Something get repossessed. Credit is bad. Had you told me I had $20,000 in the bank, I could have helped you. Because you take all of these things on your back, and you don't allow your woman a chance to be a helpmeet, to manage her own emotions, or even hold her accountable to say, hey, I'm not getting the support I need for you, because every time I tell you something I think is going to stress you out, you break, you fold, you crumble. We as women have to have internal fortitude that you can lay down some of the issues you have and talk to me, communicate. Not saying I'm going to solve every single one of them, but give me an opportunity to be emotionally supportive instead of always thinking that I'm unhinged emotionally. I am not a child. I'm not a child. We are women. We are support people, and we need that opportunity to help our men and our partners the way we're supposed to help them, and not simply just crumble just because we hear stuff we don't want to hear, no matter what it is: disease, job, infidelity. I should be the first person to know.
Well, sounds good.
Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead. Let me hear Mr. Kelly. Go
I'm not speaking from where I am now. What she's saying, it sounds good, but the majority are not like that. I understand what Kelvin. It is terrifying being in the place that I'm in right now. So my wife is my best friend. The emotional intimacy, the intimacy that we have, I've never experienced it before. We are naked before each other, and we are naked before God. But when I tell you this is the scariest place I've ever been in a relationship, why? Because she can really hurt me. I am a completely open book, and it is scary. Like he said, some things that I communicate to her, she's done great with. She's never used anything against me. But I tell you what, when I was out there for those 6 years and I lost my mother in this relationship that I was in, this woman said, you could be there. And I'm going through grief, and I'm telling her I'm fighting for my life. The more and more I cried, and the more I fell in this deep pit, the less and less she was attracted to me, the more she wanted from me. And I was like, yo, I'm telling you, I'm fighting for my life. And you talking about you want more romance. You want more all of this stuff. And I said, yo, I don't have anything else to give you. And when I left the relationship, she said, how could you let me go? And I said, how not? What do you mean? I'm telling you, I'm fighting for my life, and you telling me you want more romance? I want to drive the car off the cliff. You seeing me? I'm crying next to you every night. I lost my mother, and you want more romance.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But wait a minute, Tammy. Wait a minute, Andrea. Does she have the right to feel that way? We talking about, look, tonight, for those that just jumped on here, we talking about honeymoon to forever. This is part of that to forever part. Like, does she have a right to feel the way she feels? Like, yes, you got a situation, we have a situation, but I still need the emotional cup filled.
Pause. We wasn't married though. She wanted to get married, right?
Whoever, like together.
The other thing too, right? I said I said, yo, just what happened if I just fell off? I said, because I don't want my business no more. I said, what would happen if I fell off? She said, well, you'll have a period of time to get it back together.
Well,
And I said, what does that mean?
The character, the personality of the woman.
Of her, yeah, that shows.
I think the big piece is around a lot of this is about being whole in our own healing. Yep. And a lot of times as women, and I've worked with women I am a woman. I have been around for a minute, and not just in my coaching space, but just being in coworkers and friendships. A lot of times there's a lot of pieces as women, we need to heal ourselves. We need to grow ourselves. We need to mature ourselves. And then we started out this conversation talking about healing. We talked about mother wounds and abandonment issues and issues. And a lot of times those responses that you men are talking about is the responses or fears that we haven't dealt with. One of the things that I've seen in working with women over these years, and in even my own personal journey of life, as the more I grow personally, the more I become whole and deal with my own issues, the better person I am. I'm not perfect, no way, shape, or form, but I'm I'm a better person in all of my relationships, as a parent of adult children, as a daughter, in relationships. And we have to do our own personal work. And I think a lot of times in what you're saying, Kelvin, from a man's perspective, is that, it kind of sounds, piggybacking off Tammy, that we're unhinged, as Pyrrha said, we're maybe seem unhinged, but that's the work as women we have to do. And when we're in partnership, we have to be able to regulate our emotions. Doesn't mean we can't hurt or feel sad or need a minute, but there is a way to respond, tone, timing, and there's some other pieces that can really help create, as we were talking about earlier, the safe place for the man and for the woman.
Absolutely. And I just want to add something really, really quick. Mr. Kelly, you gave a great example about your wife wanting more romance when you was fighting for your life.
No,
and I'm sorry.
His girlfriend.
That was a relationship.
Girlfriend. But I just wanted to add something. It's weird to go back to Miss Halle Berry, but that picture frame is very, very important when I look at it from a different lens. At certain points, you need to be the focal and she needs to be the frame. And the frame is stunning, like, okay, my man, I can't get this romance right now because my man needs a certain amount of attention where he needs emotional support. But it means that you can't stay in that place. You're going to have to flip at some point, and she's going to have to get the attention. She's going to be the focal point, and you're going to have to be the frame. You're going to have to get out of your emotional state, and you're going to have to support her. You're going to have to be the frame, and she's going to have to get the attention. And I think what Miss Halle Berry was trying to tell us, you both can't be a picture at the same time and a frame at the same time.
Correct.
We gotta take a turn. As a wife,
Correct.
long term, I may not want to have sex with my husband, but I understand at some point he needs that, right? He needs that. He's gonna be the focus, even though I'm tired. Just like sometimes he's gonna be the tired. He's gonna be tired, but he's gonna have to get out in 15 degrees outside and change that tire because the focus is me and this family. So we got to take a chance to be the focal point, but we can't always be the focal point all the time. And we can't always be the frame because it's hard doing that all the time. That's why we got a partner where I can pass the baton and you can pass it back. Yeah. And a lot of times when we're going from honeymoon to forever, you got somebody that's holding baton and they don't ever want to pass it back.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I agree.
Well said. Go ahead, Hazel.
I was going to say in the picture frame and the picture changes too, right? It doesn't, the way the picture originally was, it doesn't have to be that. The way the frame was, you may have started out with the wood and now you got, I don't know, gold or silver, and now it's gold. And then maybe it started out 4x6 and now it's you know what I'm saying? Like it changes, it shifts. It doesn't have
it grows. Yeah.
Or the frame. You know what I'm, does that make sense? It doesn't have to be that.
You should become a better picture when it's your turn.
With a better frame.
When it's your turn.
And with a better frame.
And a stronger frame.
Frame.
Right. So you go and you get a new frame. When you put it on the mantle, it needs to be something stronger and more visible. But you asked a question, Kelvin. You said, is her feelings valid? Right? Or should she feel that way?
Yes.
You can never tell a person how to feel. Mm-hmm. Okay, so whatever she feels, hey, that's what she feels. You know what I mean? It's up to him on how he wants to respond to her feelings. It's up to her how she wants to respond to the situation. I think a lot of times we as women should take more accountability for our own lack of emotional maturity. So we are emotional beings, and everybody talks about more emotional intelligence, but people rarely talk about emotional maturity. And being mature in your emotions is essential,
Yes.
especially when you want to talk about emotional intimacy. Um, when you lack maturity, that means you simply don't even understand how you show up, nor do you recognize how they're showing up and how you showed up affected how they show up. So it's like accountability is a thing, and we don't we lack it. Um, and I say if we're going to be going from honeymoon to forever, you have to develop emotional intelligence. You have to be mature with it, and then you have to have intimacy with your partner emotionally. It's not just the physical thing. It's not just our physical connection. And I think when we get into relationships, we do a lot of physical and we lack on the emotion. And then as time goes and that honeymoon phase is over,
Yeah.
then it's like, wait a minute, who the heck am I with? What the heck am I doing? And it's because you did not emotionally connect
Right.
from the beginning.
Fact.
Yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's talk a little bit. Let's get back to the hold on one second. I'm going to see if I can pull this list up because we want to help our folks to keep this thing going and lasting long. We talking about long lasting relationships. I got some dating ideas, and actually, I should have pulled up my book. I got 101 dating ideas. But give me your thoughts on some of these ideas as to what couples can do to go out. Would you do any of these? All right.
Absolutely.
All
Yes,
right,
I can see that.
sporting events, concerts,
Yeah.
fire pit at the beach. Maybe as you guys look at this list, maybe pick out the one that is unique to you that you would love to do, or that you've done before and you like to do again. All right, we got comedy club, we got movie theater, we got racetrack, we got shooting range. You guys tell me if there's one here that you have done that you liked or one that you'd like to do, and let's talk about it.
I don't know if it's me.
Okay,
It's small. I can't see it though.
yeah, I was gonna say I can't see it, but I could tell you what I would appreciate.
Well, hold your thought because you can't see it. I need somebody who can see it to talk first. Let me hear your thought.
I see all of them, and I think that they're all honestly great options.
Pick one.
I think you know what the first one I actually see that I'm like that I've never done it, but I think it would be a very great date. It's called flying a kite, and that's what I think. That's what
I did do that. That was fun.
And I think if you don't know how to fly one and he can teach you how to fly one, amazing. But the process of trying to get the kite in the air, right? And then maintaining it there and being able to have conversation. Like every date doesn't have to be super expensive. Every date doesn't have to, just require a whole lot of extra. You know what I mean? Like that's something simple. You can go to the dollar store and get you a kite if you want to. Make a picnic behind it afterwards. I don't know, but I just thought it was different.
Yeah,
and more intimate actually, because you would actually spend a lot of time talking.
Yeah. Who else has got one?
Yeah, I can't see, but I have gone on shooting range. Those are exciting. I haven't been to a race.
That's on the list.
You mentioned that. I would love to do that. I just haven't had that experience. But
you'd love to do what?
Racetrack.
The racetrack.
Okay.
Yeah, just to experience that. But I think it was Paris was just speaking, but I heard, I think it's Jay Shetty, who's a very popular life coach. He's done a lot of relationship books, but he talked about the fact that oftentimes when people are watching, nothing wrong with watching movies and shows and things, but that there's not a lot of opportunity or interaction between the two individuals. And so the more that you do that, the less you're really connecting. And I think it's and it's fine in its place, but I love some of these odd or different type of experiences that allow you to see a different part of your partner, or allow your partner to bring out a different part of you or a side of you that you've never experienced. And I think that brings a different level of emotional connection, as well as getting to know your partner in a different way.
For sure. So yeah, me and my wife, we're doing the ABCs of dating. So we're choosing alphabet. I bought her, so for Christmas, I bought her a photo album, and I said, we're going to do the ABCs of dating. And so for the first one I put in there, I bought tickets to see Boyz II Men, and I said, this is going to be C for a concert. So we're doing that. Going back to that young lady I was dating, right? I saw Dinner Cruise on there, so she asked for more romance. So our plan was I would pick Friday, she would pick Saturday. So Friday, I took her on a dinner cruise. Guess what she wanted to take me on Saturday?
Where?
To support her to be a vendor at a Jamaican restaurant's anniversary.
Okay.
That had nothing to do with you. All it have to do with her.
Nothing to do with me. I went off. Anyway, as you can see, that's how that relationship.
I wanna add to the date, what dates look like. I remember when you mentioned the kite. So I actually did do that. We went on the beach. I bought him some ice cream from McDonald's. Went on the beach. He recorded me taking pictures of me, and we were flying the kite, and we were just laughing and just having a grand old time, right? And it was really just about. And then I was about 140 pounds bigger than what I am now. So for me, it just looked like it just looked and felt just different in general. But the fact that it was just something so simple, he was like, I've never done it. You want to do it, want to spend time together. And that's what we did. And that was really cool. But then I had another person who I was digging. We made bracelets together. I went and bought red, black, and green beads. And he was really like into like our culture, and I was too, and so we went and made bracelets together. Like it can be it, but when you were saying about the intimacy part, not just doing like the cruise and all that stuff, what I thought was, it's amazing how, if you've ever seen, like, and I don't know if it's true for people, I've seen it on TV, but how people can have like they can be stuck somewhere and all they can do is rely on each other, and then all of a sudden they fall deeply in love, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, because it wasn't about I'm connected to you. It was, you really had to learn how to trust that person right then and there when you're going. It's like doing an escape room or something. I've never done it either, but I'm going to make the assumption that an escape room can make or break a relationship. Because depending on if you're competitive, if you're not, depending on all these different factors. So I think with the intimacy of dating, really, if you find the most complicated thing that you can be in, and you're willing to work that through, and you'll be able to really find out if this is the person that you want to be going through ditches and stuff with or not.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Them escape rooms is definitely a date. If you are ever a person that likes to test something before you dive in for real, an escape room is definitely the option to choose.
Yeah.
And because when you're under pressure and you're frustrated, trying to escape, and your mental state says my life is dependent upon getting out of here, you do a lot of different things that you don't do in regular life. You know, you actually see that person in that space, and it says, "Ooh, you talking to me crazy? Did you just tell me to shut up? Because you can't hear." Like, it's just like you forgot who I was in this space with you, and that show it's gonna tell you a whole lot right then and there, because your mindset is about getting out of here.
Yeah. Hey, so let's talk a little bit about love languages, since we trying to get to forever, right? And I think what Mr. Kelly Cole was just talking about just now when he talked about the woman misunderstanding a good gift, a good bonding moment. She misunderstood the moment. Let's talk about like how I believe in the 5 love languages, right? But I do believe that there's more. But like if we can get them 5, if we can work with them 5, we'll be really getting somewhere. But how important do you think those like the 5, like understanding your partner's love language, what makes them light up, what makes them feel seen, heard, excited, aroused? How important is this in relationships?
Very.
I personally think it's very important. We all perceive love in a different way. I think Gary Chapman, the author of, the 5 love languages, or the founder of that concept, had a great point. And if you think about even our own children, like if you have multiple children, you can see that each of them kind of perceive how you love on them or, parent them differently. Same thing in relationships. And I think the key is that not only understanding our own love language so that we can articulate that to our mate, right, and how we need to be loved, but also when our mate their love language doesn't match ours, we have to work a little bit harder, if you will, or be more intentional to fill their cup, right? It doesn't mean that we don't fill their cup because it's not the same, but it's maybe not natural to us, if that makes sense. So I think that's a big concept, because I recognize that I've been married twice, and I was divorced over close to 15 years ago. And that was a huge aspect of our relationship. That was a piece of it that we could not connect on.
And communicating your love languages is important.
Yeah.
Right?
What does that mean?
So, like, you need to tell a person how you need to receive love.
Yeah.
Just like they need to tell you how they need to receive it. So that
Wait a minute, Tammy. Wait a minute. Now, these women, they out here talking about, I'm not telling a man how to love. If he don't know how to love me, then he's not the one for me.
If he want to,
but
he
close
will.
Mouths,
That's right. If he wanted to, he will.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Right?
Let me tell you something. You better tell him how you need to be loved. And he needs to tell you how he needs to be loved. Right. Personally, I believe everybody has all 5 love languages. It's just about the priority of them as far as what matters most, right? A lot of time men think gift giving is women's love language, and it's like, oh, I'll buy you this and I'll take you here and I'll do X, Y, and for me that's number 5. Right. Like, it's the least of my desires. Does that mean I don't want a gift? Absolutely not. It just means that if you decide to give me a gift versus spend time with me, we have a problem, because quality time is my number 1. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand how a person receives it. But just because quality time is my number 1, that doesn't mean that that's how I'm going to love on you. If physical touch is your number 1, or if words of affirmation is your number 1. If your number 1 is words of affirmation, I'm not going to love on you by saying, let's go. I set a date up for us so we can have time together. No, I'm going to give you words of affirmation and tell you how I admire you or how much I appreciate you. Or
is it that easy? Is it that easy?
No, it's not. It is not.
It really is.
It can be.
It really is. Here's my thing.
Hold on, one at a time.
Wait a minute. It really is that easy if you make it that way. I think we complicate things so much. It really is. If you openly communicate how you need to be loved, and that other person does the same, you make the choice if you're gonna love them that way. It's going like you've been told. If you tell me that's how you need to be loved, and then I choose to do something different, that's on me.
Go ahead, Hazel.
I think to Tammy's point, I think it is that easy. However, I think our ego, our pride and going back to unhealed, all of those things affect or effect how easy it can be. Even and this is something simple, it's still relationships. Even when I was a teacher, I and love languages change over time as you mature, as you grow, as you get healed, they begin to shift and look different, right? So, like even for me, my students, I do a lot of praising and affirmation, like do a lot of affirmations for them when I was teaching high school. Those students, and I was like, why are these kids getting me? Like, I'm like, right on, great job, all this stuff, right? And they was not getting me. And I'm like, what the heck? So I decided I was going to give them a love language quiz. So I gave them all one. Most of them actually wanted receiving gifts. So I had to translate that. What did that look like? That meant me giving them an opportunity to present. That meant me giving them an opportunity to show up. It meant different things, right? Now I did teach marketing, but I had to make it make sense for them. What it did was, because they finally understood, they understood theirs, and they understood that there was different love languages. Guess what happened? I said, I want you to go do this with your family, because a lot of them said they were having problems communicating with their family. Like, well, Miss J, it's easy to talk to you. Well, yeah, there's no expectation with me. Just talk to me. Like, what's up? But for them, it was a challenge. So once they did that, guess what happened? Their relationship started changing, because the parents wanted that and the kids wanted that. They just needed to figure out a way to do it. And again, and I think you alluded to it, Tammy. We can get so comfortable in how we communicate, and we expect the person to accept it as love. There's so many times where we do love on this person, and the person doesn't even feel loved at all, because they don't understand that way of being loved.
Yeah.
I remember my ex-husband said, "Oh, you didn't love me." My second one, "I didn't love you, dude. What do you mean?" He said this was crazy to me, but this was his truth, so I couldn't knock it. He said, "You didn't go upside my head and make me bleed." Like that sounds crazy, right? But he attributed love to abuse, to pain. That's what he attributed. So it didn't matter how much I wanted to hug him, spend time with him, pour into him, do all those love language. To your point, there's more than one kind. It didn't matter which ones I did. He wanted blood. He wanted me to do crazy stuff. I'm not doing that. That's not happening. But again, it goes back to really understanding and giving the person an opportunity. Give them an opportunity to accept your love. Give them an opportunity to know how you want to be loved. Because if you don't, you're setting them up for failure anyway. Give them an opportunity to prove you wrong if you're looking to be wrong, or give them an opportunity to prove you right, because you're deserving of all the love that they want to give to you, and they just don't really know how to do it.
That's a fact.
And that's where I was getting at as well. Like this should, it should be easy to know someone's love language. And with so many couples and singles, and even my own personal experience, we learned the 5 love languages. I remember learning about 15 years ago, and realizing like this is something that's easier said than done. And I'll explain my case, right? It's easier said than done, because I have seen people be in relationships, and for example, quality time. If you are a truck driver, you're always on the road, and your wife wants quality time, or a physician or an attorney. Somebody is not capable of this quality time on a consistent basis to fulfill this love language desire, right? So there are things inside of lifing that prevent it. Kids, obligations. I want quality time. There's very limited quality time, especially in the early phases when people are grinding, right? And then and that's just one example. There are a lot of situations where I've seen where there are some women, we think our women are affectionate and nurturing, not affectionate and nurturing. So sense of touch and intimacy, they don't have it. So men are sitting here deprived because the woman they're with isn't sexual, affectionate, and they're not into a sense of touch. So easier said than done. We can know what our partner's love language is. And I know a lot of married people that are unhappy and unsatisfied, and the quality of their marriage suffer because the person that they chose doesn't give love in that way. They don't want to give love in that way. It's not natural. They didn't grow up being hugged. They didn't grow up hearing words of affirmation. So I love you as I show you instead of I tell you. So you wanting something from someone and requiring that even though they haven't developed that and they don't know how to get to that love language. That's why I say this is very hard, because I've seen it where I've seen in the honeymoon phase thinking that this person was going to fulfill your desires. And as we get 5, 10, 15 years in, being deprived of this for so long, especially when you had a relationship where somebody else showed up with the gifts, showed up with the words of affirmation, but who you chose doesn't give you that, and they haven't developed over 5 and 10, 15 years, that's when the frustration comes. So that's why I say it should be as easy as I can give you your love language. But one, can you give it consistently? Can you give it to their level of expectation? How does that manifest from you to them? So that's why I say that should. I'm 100% on love languages, but I have seen them not work out. And that's why a lot of relationships break down, because people live deprived for so long.
But those individuals, to me, are choosing that, right? Like if you're in a dating phase and you're not getting fulfilled in that area and you still choose to marry them and choose to stay in that relationship, then you chose that misery.
Yeah.
People are showing you who they are, and even if they give you a facade in the beginning and, don't give you their true self, and then you marry them, and then now their true self comes out like, oh, I got you. So now I can just do what I want to do or live the way I want to live and not give you what I was giving you previously. Again, you're making a choice if you choose to stay. When people show you who they are, believe them. It doesn't, not being able to give quality time because of work environments, etc. You still can do it. I think it's a mature level to say, do I need it every day, 5 times a week?
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be mature to know that that cup can still be filled. And does that mean that I got to sit next to you for quality time? No. You can pick up the phone and call me and say, I was thinking about you. Okay, great. See, we're getting a little time in. It don't matter if it was 15 minutes and you got to go see patients or go get on the road. Like, maturity and understanding how this thing works is also has to be included. It can't just be give me. This is what I need.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. And this is the stuff that we have to have these conversations about, because this is the stuff that ends up breaking people up. These unmet expectations, these unmet and sometimes even unrealistic, because somebody talked about let's say if his love language is touch and he need to be touched every night and at 10:59 he need to be touched and you don't feel like doing no touching. You say, like, I touched last night, I touched last week, and he's saying, well, that was last week. Apparently you don't love me. People really attach these sort of things to their love languages. So one of the things I want to talk about now, you guys, is something that really, to me, determines whether somebody's going to have a good relationship or not. And that is how you fight.
Absolutely fair.
How you deal with conflict will determine if this is going to get to forever or we're going to forget about it. We're going to forever or going to forget about it. So you guys, give me some of your, if you guys have some, we all can agree that is the case. Give me a couple of your techniques that you might share with your clients, or that you can share with this audience right here on fighting fair.
Well, I'll come out just from experience. Again, healing in some areas and just working with a lot of women over the years. A couple things that come to mind is, one, keeping score, where, oftentimes a lot of couples will not really get over a wrongdoing, whether it's intentional or something big or small, of the other partner, and bring it back up. And, I did this, you did that type of thing. And I think that even plays into the area of forgiveness. When you've been offended and your partner is really sorry that they did whatever they did. Again, this can go big or small, but moving forward. And a lot of times, I think what I've even seen in coaching women in the divorce space, not letting go of when your partner has hurt you, whether you haven't forgiven, and holding on to resentment, is a huge piece that eventually tears down a relationship. And so that gets, that's about the quote unquote fighting aspect, or how to disagree and how to move forward when when you have problems and you have disagreements. So I would say forgiveness, not keeping score, or and really just being open and honest in a soft space, a safe space, again, as I said earlier, and also the timing and tone of the conversations when there's some disagreements are important.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Tammy, you go.
Honestly, I say always ask yourself the part you play. I think a lot of times we are so big on pointing the finger at the other person and dissecting everything that they did to bring you to this moment. And the reality is it takes two. Even if even if they did something and it was just like all them, you still played a part. Be it you stayed silent and said nothing, be it, like you still played a part. And I say always look at the part that you play instead of just pointing the finger.
That's good.
Good stuff.
That's real good. I'll just piggyback off of that, Tammy. That's a big part in the healing after divorce, because a lot of times, when we talk about, I like to call them the majors of divorce, like, infidelity, addictions, abuse,
Finances.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when those things have happened to one, either mate, that's all they focus on. But they may not talk about what happened prior to, or what led to these things, or what, even in abusive relationships, the first time someone either verbally said something wrong or actually put their hands on you, how you responded, all those things do make a big difference. And so I think you're absolutely right with that point of what role did we play and how can we move forward and be better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also feel like, how we argue is very important, but the arguments go a lot different based off of your perception of how you value and respect that person. So one tactic that I use is that when I'm with a partner, I try my best to elevate that partner to someone who I revere, I reverence, right? There's a difference between fear and reverence is like a form of respect. I reverence my father. No matter what he does or says to me, he could be in a drunken state, a delusion state. He steps out of pocket. I remember who I'm talking to. I am talking to my father. I am talking to someone who has brought me in this world, who has taken care of me every day of his life, and who loves me. So even though they make me mad, I get in a state of emotionalism. I reverence this man. So for my partner, I always want to, even when I'm angry, go back. I reverence you. I know how I perceive you and I respect you. And it's very difficult for me to be in a relationship with a man that I don't respect, because a lot of times when you argue, the way that we argue when we don't respect the man is different. That makes you want to talk with your hands and get a little sassy and say some stuff you shouldn't have said, because you no longer respect that man. And honestly, if you get to a point where you don't respect that man, conflict is going to be terrible. And so it's very important to heal the issue with the fact that I don't respect you because you don't keep your word. I don't respect you because you don't do what you said you was going to do, because you are not faithful, right? So when you argue, whether it be about anything, money or house chores, the fact that there's a lack of respect that went into the conflict, it's not going to give you the same level of boundaries you would have for a man that you do respect. So I'm constantly checking the temperature of how much I respect you to figure out if I need to be in this relationship, because I know it's going to get ugly in the argument. So I have to check my level. Why am I losing respect for you? And how do I fix it? If I cannot fix the respect that I do not have for you, then I don't need to be in that relationship, because the way that we handle conflict is not going to be one that's successful, because I don't respect you. And it's the same thing for men. They'll put their hands on you because they didn't respect you before that argument happened. They could put their hands on you because they didn't value you, because they thought that you was less than, because they thought they could physically force you against in their will. So respect is very, very important. When I see the breakdown of relationships, I see a breakdown of respect, and it comes down to boundaries. What I will call you and what I will not call you, right? And I look at it, I have sons, right? So even when they get mad, I got to respect them. So keeping that respect in the relationship dynamic That's how much I love you. I love you no matter when you step out of bounds, when you do wrong, when you hurt me. There's a certain boundary I'm not going to cross. I'm not going to be petty. I'm not going to be vindictive. I'm not going to go for your character of who you are as a person. I may not like the behavior, but I don't got to name call you and disrespect you for you to know how I feel. So I think that we got to make sure to check that respect.
Good. Kelly Cole, talk to me.
Yeah, man.
We talk about fighting fair and not let the argument ruin the love. How do you do it?
Yeah, man. So when we started over, it was important for me to exercise patience that I didn't exercise the first time, and create a place of security for her, letting her know that it was a safe place. Number one, that I'm not fighting to get out. I'm fighting so we can stay in. That was very important. So, because she knew before, if we got into something, it was so I could keep score and say, see, yep, I'm telling you, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Versus now, if there's conflict, no, let's resolve this. Let's get the tools. Let's help each other so we can keep this thing rolling. So it's a different fight now. It's a fight to stay in versus the fight to find a reason to exit. So that's the difference between then and now.
Good stuff. Go, Hazel.
What came to my mind,
okay, go ahead.
What came to my mind was, or is, really, and it's gonna sound crazy, but I think it's super important, like, to go to God and be like, okay, God, show me and tell me what to do, because right now this ain't it. I want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing, that I'm showing up, I'm doing the right thing. That's one piece of it. The other piece of it is, again, in the beginning, really just saying, what is your non-negotiables? Like, what are we not going to do? What are we just not going to do? What are we going to do no matter what? No matter what, we agree that we're not going to bed mad, or no matter what, we agree that we're not going to call each other out our name. What is that non-negotiable or negotiables? Also being willing to just shut up and listen to what they're saying. It ain't about you in that moment. It's about them, which is why they're showing up the way they're showing up. So just shut up and listen. It's okay. It's not about you. It's about them. And then once you hear them, repeat what I hear you saying this.
Yeah.
Or you say, well, can you tell me how I can better do this? Help them guide you. Because sometimes they don't even know. They still may be in la la land somewhere, comparing how they want this to show up based on what they've seen or heard somewhere else, whether it be from a celebrity or the great auntie and uncle who stayed married for so many years. Like, it can be so many different things. So being able to say, I hear you say this, please. And is this what I'm hearing? Get clarity. Also assuming best intent.
Yeah.
I tell people, assume that they're doing this from the best place possible.
That's good.
Just assume that, and then get an understanding along the way. But just assume it's what Paris said. The reverence. It's the intent. I really truly believe that we want what's best. We want to fight for this. We got our gloves on, but we the championship that we want to hold, that belt, is that we made it through this. We made it through that. We made it through this. And then remembering that even at that point where you felt like it wasn't going to work, but you made it through. So guess what that means? That means that you have something within you, both of you, that can say, you know what? Hey, we're having a hard time right now, but we made it before. We can make it again. Yeah. Because you both want it. You have to both want it. If one person only wants it, it's not going to work. No matter how much you do. I remember having to say, I can do all that I can do for you, and it's still not going to be good enough because you're done, or because I'm done. It doesn't matter. Don't lose yourself trying to please somebody who don't want it, or trying to fix something don't do that. But make sure you give yourself an opportunity to say, hey, do you really want this? We did it before. What's stopping us now? Like, get a real understanding.
That's good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good stuff. You know, one I got a couple that I can share, and it comes down to setting the ground rules ahead of time.
Yes, I was
Right?
about to say some. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, because sometimes you get all the way into it, and you already called her a name that you can't take back, or somebody has taken an action that requires now the police to show up, and once we go there, it's hard to go back. Okay. I have clients, and I tell them, look, if somebody's getting dragged out of there for domestic violence, somebody that went upside your head, slapped you, stomped you in the ground, you ain't gonna be able to get back in and come back in the house and have macaroni and cheese and and have a good night. Because if you do, now we're building the foundation of toxicity. Because now you've taught that person that this is okay. You can you can punch me in my eye. I can have a black eye and a bloody nose. We can come back and have mac and cheese and then go to bed and have a good night. And so you're training them on how to treat you.
Treat you. Mm-hmm.
You know, that saying is true. You teach people how to treat you.
Absolutely.
By what you accept.
Absolutely.
Okay. So to get ahead of all of that, you got to have the conversation. Okay, what are the things that we are not going to do?
Yeah.
When we have conflict. Okay. There will be no physical altercation. If you ever slap me, we're finished.
Done.
We can't go no further than that. If you ever call me these, there's a list of names that my mama didn't name me, and if you ever refer to me by these names, we're gonna have a problem, right? So stay away from that, and then I like the idea of having because listen, we know that this is real life that we're dealing with, and sometimes things can take off, right? I like having that signal word,
Safe word. Yeah.
having that safe word that just says, okay, we're just going to take a break. When you hear the word coffee, sleeping bag, I don't know what it needs to be, right?
Couch.
Couch.
I'm just playing.
Okay.
I'm just playing.
Police. I don't know.
No,
right?
no. I think when you do safe words, you should do something that's positive.
That's something that's positive, right? So
Association is very important.
yes, and having that in advance, so that when you start feeling that oh boy, here we go, right? You can pull out that safe word and use it and keep things together, which just means it's not over. We're just going to take a break.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hazel.
So I shared that I'm a hypnotherapist too, right? And so what came to my mind is even doing like visualization work, doing a hypnotherapy piece. I'm like, okay, well, we about to go crazy right now. I see it getting ready to happen. Saying that, only what it is. It's okay. Let's go and refocus. Let's do a visualization technique. Let's do a reassociation. Let's do something like you can think outside the box. It may sound crazy to some, but thinking outside of the box and doing something that will really cause you, and really even just taking a breath, like, we're about to breathe for a second, because breathing can do wonders for you. Or
yeah, and they'd be like, don't try to tell me to breathe. You breathe. Don't tell me to breathe.
Again, to your point though, that's setting the expectation, right? That's having a running list of things that we can do when things get heated. Here is a plethora of opportunities to change the dynamics of this situation to where we're fighting fair. We're not going to do it one way, two way, three. We got a whole list that we're agreeing to. And if it's just saying, hey, we got 10 and we about to do number 7 real quick. That's what we about to do. What is 7? Go. Do I need to get you the index card? But let's go do number 7. Or maybe it's, hey, you know what? To your point of taking a break, maybe you really just need to, I just need a peace break. a peace break. Call it something, not I need a break from you. Don't, again, association is everything. So when you need those things, associate it to something that's good, that's fulfilling, that brings happiness, that brings joy. Because if you associate it to something that's not, how do you expect to yield the result that's different? How?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, that's definitely it. You know, I heard one time, I heard Dr. Phil say it one time. He said, you got to decide sometimes whether you want to be right or you want to have peace. And sometimes you can't have both. You know, sometimes you just got to choose one. Are you going to be right or you're going to have peace? And choose peace.
And choosing peace doesn't mean you choose to silence yourself. It just means that in this moment, I agree to let it go and to keep it in this moment peaceful. It doesn't mean that you're not speaking your truth. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you made the conscious decision to not move forward to prove a point. It means you made the conscious decision to seek peace instead of trying to, again, allow your ego and your pride to dictate, to validate you in that moment. It's okay. I tell people all the time, nobody wakes up, even the worst of the worst person doesn't wake up and say, I'm gonna be the worst person I can be. Even they want to be better at being worse, right? I mean, it's funny, but it's true. No one is going to wake up and say, oh, I'm about to just relinquish all of who I am to keep no, don't do that. Nobody's saying do that. But to keep the peace means you still stay true to yourself. But in that moment, you made the decision that makes sense for you in that moment. And that in itself is empowerment. That is healing. That is courage. That is strength. That is love. Yeah. That is love.
Yes. All right. So look, we running down, but I want to just kind of go around the horn here and have you guys give your final thesis, your final word on this topic here tonight. Tell the folks what you have for them. If you got a product or a service that you want to share, you can pitch that now and tell them how they can follow you on social media.
Okay. Who are you going in order? What you doing?
Andrea, you can go. You go first, Andrea.
Okay. As I said, of course, I'm Andrea M. Stuckey. It's been a pleasure to be here on tonight. You can find me on all social media platforms, divorce_coach7. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I have written several books. You can find it on Amazon, Andrea M. Stuckey, and just DM me if you have any questions. And I also have a Facebook group for divorced women, Divorced Women Unite. So on Facebook, you can just kind of search that. And I have coaching, private coaching services at this time. So if you're interested or you want a consultation, just hit me up, just DM me or send me a DM on one of those platforms. It's fine.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. I guess she didn't have no final thoughts on this topic.
Oh, final thoughts. I am so sorry. Yes, I have final thoughts.
No.
I think this is great. You know, we talk about honeymoon to forever. And as I started off, when you talked about, Kelvin, what that means or, you know, what comes to mind. And my hope is that, you know, relationships are beautiful. Even though I've been divorced twice, have been in this space, and I work with divorced women, not an advocate of divorce, but I know that it happens. I really hope that we can sort of end this gender war that's going on and really focus on developing ourselves individually so we can come together to see more of those forevers in relationships. And thanks to meeting, it's been wonderful. It's just talking and meeting everybody tonight.
Awesome. Tammy.
Okay, so final thoughts is this: honeymoon to forever, how to keep love strong. I say before you do anything, create a vision for this relationship. Equally decide how this relationship is supposed to function. And that doesn't mean that you're going to know what's going to happen every step of the way. But if you put a goal in place, if you put a vision in place, at least you're working towards it. You're moving according to the vision. The Bible says, for the lack of the vision, the people perish. And so if that relationship is going to stay strong and go from honeymoon to forever, the vision must be there. And I think a lot of times we lack vision. But if you want to find me, you can find me on all social media platforms under Coach Tammy Nicole or simply Tammy Nicole. I do have coaching programs available. If you would like to get more information on that, you can email me at coaching@IamTammyNicole.com. I have books out. They are also on Amazon, and they are under Tammy Nicole.
All right. Good stuff. Mr. Kelly Cole.
Yo, this has been a pleasure. My first panel since becoming one with my wife again. So this has been great. Thank you all so much. My final words and thoughts: choose honeymoon every day and choose it forever, because it can be that if you choose to make it that, and fight to stay in that thing. Don't fight to get out. And if I'm talking to a man, don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. Stand up, be a man, heal, and love that woman properly. So those are my final words. And then if you want more information about me and what we do, me and the wife, our website is kellyandnatasha.com. We have a podcast and a new book called Finally One: From Teenage Parents to Married to Divorced and to Happily Married Again. We got classes coming out and a whole bunch of stuff. So kellyandnatasha.com. That's the best place to get in touch with me.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Paris Denise, what's up?
Yes. Hey, y'all. Y'all can find me on Paris Denise on Facebook, Paris Denise on Instagram. If you want to sign up for matchmaking, want to learn to date better, connect with better singles that you're compatible with, when it really comes down from the honeymoon stage forever, that starts with picking the right people, making the right decisions, and having good discernment. That's something that I've lived. That's something that I'm living. Shameless plug, I did have a show on Bravo. I am now getting my own spinoff show.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's starting to film later this spring, right? So you hear a lot of gurus, right? You hear a lot of gurus, they date, they just pop up married, but you never see what they go through. You never see them practice what they preach. You never see them make mistakes in the public general eye. If you do, it's just this person's gone, but you never see how we get it back. We're sitting here, we're teaching people how to date, but we don't sometimes live those same things that we put out to our clients and to the public. So you get to see Paris pick love and see, everything that I'm saying that I actually live, and understand that we all go through issues. And even though we're doctors and matchmakers and dating coaches and therapists, we are still human. We still can fall short. We still make mistakes, and we're still growing and learning. So I pray that y'all have grace for me and also have grace for yourself. So that show will be on Nubian Network. It's a Black streaming network. Support our own businesses and support somebody who has lost it all, had to get it back, lose it all, and get it back again. Because when you really become passionate about love, you're never going to give up. So I say, hey, keep hope alive, and please support me on those platforms. I'm running for Forbes Entrepreneur of Impact. We're trying to scale and grow our business and have capital flood into this TV show production. So you can find that on my link. I'm number 3. I'm trying to get to number 1. So if you want to invest in a Black woman, if you want to invest in a nonprofit that's going to be feeding children and underserved populations, definitely find me on those platforms and vote for me.
Good. Congrats.
Very nice. Very nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dr. Hazel J, wrap it up for us and give us how they can follow you, find you, all that.
All right. So my takeaway is that from this, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I literally had to pray my way and fight my way to be here, because I had a whole episode where I was stuttering really bad and stuff. And so I'm just so grateful to just be here. My takeaway, or what I want to share, is that choose you. When you choose you, you're able to choose the right person for you. When you're really honest with yourself, you're better able to be honest with the person. It really goes back from you really healing from the inside out, choosing you from the inside out. Now, where you can find me, you can find me on all social media platforms under Dr. Hazel J, or Glowologist, or iGlow Consulting. You can that's IGLOW Consulting, or Glowologist, GLOW ologist, right? You can go to my website, hazelj.com. You can even be a guest on my TV show, Get Lit with Dr. Hazel J. You can do all these different things, right? You can also most definitely tap into my program. It's called His and Her Formation Journey, and it actually speaks to all the things that the panel was just sharing in their final thoughts. It's being able to, one, identify that you're dating the right person, right? But before you can do that, you have to, again, heal your own childhood trauma, heal yourself. Then once you heal yourself, and you create the vision for yourself, then you're able to come together and see if y'all visions align. When your visions align, then you're able to make the next step. And as you grow in your stages until marriage, right? You're constantly creating that vision, adjusting to the vision, or doing what you need to do to stay on accord to that vision. The vision is going to get you where you want to be. It's going to guide you, direct you. It's going to do all those things, right? And then understanding when you start adding, if you blend a family, or if you end up having a baby, you didn't have one, it was just y'all two before, and now you have a baby, or you're going through financial things. All of those things can possibly change your vision, right? Your expectation. So go back and create another vision. So that's what His and Her Formation is. Really going through the stages. It's premarital counseling, dating on steroids.
Beautiful.
Again, you can check it out at hazelj.com. Thank you so much.
All right. Beautiful. Hazel got a lot. Hazel got a lot, but that's all right. All right. And so my final word on this is end on a positive note, right? If you're going to get to from honeymoon to forever, and to keep love strong, it has to end on a positive note, right? The conflict has to end on a positive note. You'd be surprised how far I love you and I want this to work will go. You'd be surprised as to how far I see you and I love you just the way you are. A lot of these conflicts come because we want somebody to be different. Well, the person is who you chose. So what are we doing? So I think that's very important. And to just even hear, you guys made some amazing points here tonight. When it comes down to it, this is your one life. That's right. Single, married, whatever it is for you, this is your one life. You got to make the best of it. I love the way Paris talked about like her show, and the first show went one way, and then you come back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna use what I went through to build me to the next thing, and to build on that. Everything is buildable unless you give up. So. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. Look, and while I got y'all on here, if you want to drop your links in the chat, you can do that, and then I'll make sure that they get tagged in the description of this video so that people can go ahead and follow you, find you. Just don't give me all your tags, Dr. Hazel. Don't give me all your programs. Just give me one link that people can find you.
I'm gonna give you my link tree. There you go. You got my link tree.
Geez. Okay, give me the link tree. But definitely have an offer for the folks. And my offer is I am hosting events all around the city here in Atlanta. I got one this Friday, Flirt Friday. Everybody's invited to come. I'm hosting private events. I got private forum for events in a high-end, undisclosed place, and we're bringing people together. People, sometimes it's hard for high-quality people to meet other people on their level. So we're doing that, and we're bringing people together, and going to have a great time. So if you want to get on my list, everything is on lovecoachatlanta.com. Let me put it up. Everything is on you'll find all my activity on lovecoachatlanta.com. Please go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on this show, and we'll see you next time. All right.
Bye.
Appreciate you guys.
Bye.
All right. Later.